Hello everyone, good day. I am Mary Gwen Soto. So our topic is all about instructional resource materials for science teaching. These are the workbooks, portfolios, and Realia. Here are the objectives. At the end of the lesson, the learners will be able to first, identify the different instructional resource materials. Second, discuss the general principles of workbooks, portfolios, and Realia. And third, apply the use of workbooks, portfolios, and Realia in teaching and learning. Instructional materials are defined as anything which is read, listened to, manipulated, observed, or experienced by students as part of the instructional process. It also defines a variety of materials in any format which influence the students' learning and the teacher's teaching. According to Agu Okubu in 2000, instructional materials in teaching can be classified into visual materials, audio materials, and audiovisual materials. So when we say visual materials, it includes materials that appeal to the sense of seeing. So audio materials is also appeal to the sense of hearing, and audiovisual materials, these are materials that appeal to both senses of hearing and sight. So we will focus on the visual materials since my assigned topic are workbooks, portfolios, and Realia. What is workbook? Workbook is a type of education material that typically include components to support classroom learning. They help ensure students acquire the outcomes intended for a particular course. So every student has a different learning style. Therefore, merely attending classes cannot be sufficient for them to grasp all the learning. So workbooks ensure that students get a chance to go through multiple types of exercises that help them get better conceptual clarity. The types of workbooks can vary based on the purpose and the type of engagement needed. So why are workbooks so important? Let's take a look at some of the top advantages of using workbooks in the teaching and learning process. First is the development of independent thinking. Using workbooks inside the classroom and at home promotes independent thinking in children. Including various types of questions, helps children think on their own about how to apply the concepts learned in the class. Second, making lessons more effective. So workbooks help bring more effectiveness to the lessons planned by teachers. This way, students don't learn passively. Third, ensuring better parent involvement. So without workbooks, there is little for a parent to contribute to their child's learning journey. So with the use of workbooks, the parent plays a more active part. They can track the progress and skill development of their child even at home. Fourth, help engaging student performance. Workbooks are a good solution as teachers can check how a student is grasping the concepts and skills and identify the ones that need to be worked upon. Fifth, it brings a structure to the learning process. So workbooks can help bring a structure to the learning process because students can gradually level up based on the questions provided in the workbooks. Then also it helps evaluate class progress. Workbooks used in schools help keep track of the overall course progress. So workbooks highly impact student learning outcomes. They are one of the most effective learning sources besides classroom teaching. They make the curriculum easy to understand through interactive exercises and activities. However, workbooks are effective only if they are properly utilized. Here are some of the disadvantages of workbooks. First is the lack of hands-on learning. Considering students learn best through peer-to-peer learning, worksheets can prove to have a negative effect on the students' interest in learning. Second, it discourages abstract thinking. While completing a worksheet, a student may believe there is only one correct answer, or perhaps the worksheet is set up to be completed in one direct fashion. A redundant worksheet will often support a student's creativity and may diminish any level of deep thinking. Third, do not accommodate a realistic timeline. During the course of learning, students may stumble along certain concepts or need extra help in some areas. So you do not know what kind of worksheets will best accommodate your students' needs until your students voice their concerns in real time. The second type of instructional material is the portfolio. It is a collection of students' or persons' work. This is often documents, collection of drawings, photographs, and evidences of learning. So portfolio may be used for evaluation of students' abilities and improvement. So there are 5 stages of portfolio development. First is the planning. Originally, teachers need to determine the function, type, and design of the portfolio. During the planning stage, teachers communicate to the students the purpose of the portfolio and the assessment criteria. Second is the collection. All their coursework collection can be facilitating by remembering the purpose of the portfolio, students' personal goals, content of the course, and evaluation criteria. Third is the selection. So the selection stage is the decision-making process in which collected artifacts are arranged and selected for addition in the portfolio. So the purpose of the assessment and the kind of portfolio being developed guide selection decisions, while students are typically responsible for selecting their own work. Fourth is the reflection. So this is considered as the most important step in portfolio development. During the reflection process, students justify their selection, highlight important learning gains, explain relevant skills and knowledge, and identify areas for improvement. Fifth is the connection. In the connection stage, students expand on the reflections to connect acquired knowledge and skills with lessons, goals, and learning objectives. So the purpose of the connection stage is to add an understanding of the value of learning within the broader curriculum and the real world. The advantages of portfolio are it improves students' cognitive ability to understand their own learning process. It enhances awareness of strategies for thinking and producing work. It creates documentation to submit to reliable audiences or reviewers. It promotes assessment of a wider range of learning styles, promote creativity, individuality, and uniqueness in the assessment of learning, and it encourages students' active involvement in the assessment process. So its disadvantages, it requires additional time for planning instructional activities. It is time-intensive for teachers to implement since students lack familiar with portfolios. And third, requires considerable storage space to maintain portfolios. And lastly, it develops a grading rubrics or criteria which takes a considerable amount of time. The third instructional material is the Realia. So the word Realia comes from medieval Latin in which it originally meant the real things. So according to admin in 2008, Realia refers to any real objects we use in the classroom to bring the class to life. So Realia are physical objects that are related to the target culture. So what are the advantages of using Realia? So first, real things enable learners to authenticate an object or experience if necessary. This is because learners see, handle, or taste rather than being told verbally of the same. Second, Realia save instructional time by reducing length of abstract explanations of things which could be unfamiliar to the students. Realia brings realism when distinguishing between the characteristics of objects, and also, real things aid in the transfer of learning because they reduce the gap between learning and application. The difficulties in using Realia is the time constraints. So a teacher may find it too time-consuming in using a particular type of Realia. Also, its availability. The real thing or experience may not be readily available. Also, its accessibility. The object or experience may not be available but not easily accessible. Then also, the safety of learners. The real thing could endanger the safety of learners. Instructional materials, as the name suggests, are materials of visual, audio, and audiovisual category that helps to make concepts, abstracts, and ideas concrete in the teaching or learning process. They are also materials which the teacher uses in supplementing his or her teachings. So that is the end of our discussion. Thank you and God bless everyone.